Today we're going to show you the coolest new hybrids ever developed. They're kind of revolutionizing the industry as an all-tube feeling and sounding amp, and we've got lots of artists on board with them, lots of guys touring with them. They're a very professional hybrid amplifier, and when I say hybrid, I mean the only difference between these amps and a real 100% tube amp is that they have a tube MOSFET power section. As you can see, there's a lot of cans on both amps. Under those cans are obviously preamp tubes. So these amps have full tube preamps in them. The only thing solid state about them is the partial power section, and we'll explain that a little bit. So both amps, as mentioned, have full tube preamps in them. There's also a tube in the back, as you guys can see, in the back of the V2 here, also in the back of the T2. That is in the power section. That drives the first couple stages of a MOSFET power section. Both amps are super high power. They're 400 watts. And the reason we do that is for headroom. Traditionally, solid-state amps or solid-state power amps sounded great at low volumes, but they did not sound good at high volumes. Historically, they would run out of power. You know, the old solid-state amps were 100 watts. Once you turn them up, would start to lose power. The transformer would start to deteriorate in tone and would start to clip and sound nasty. These amps, because they have a tube in the power amp and they're 400 watts, sound great at high volumes. They even sound better at high volumes. So really the biggest difference in the two amplifiers is the front panel layout. The T2, more like the Dr. Jekyll, V2, more like Mr. Hyde. Both sheer brute power, very high gain, made for the rock and metal market especially. And just the simplistic layout of the T2, more complex layout of the V2. They both incorporate the same power section. Both sound very similar to each other. It's just what type of player are you? Are you the guy that likes to have few knobs and likes to plug in and go? Or are you the type of guy that likes to have lots of bells and whistles and lots of EQ options? That's really the biggest difference with the amplifiers. So we're going to demonstrate a little bit, first of all, with the T2, and you'll hear this revolutionary valve dynamic amplifier with its kind of push-pull effect that normal tube amps have, that solid-state and hybrid amps historically have not.